Hey, welcome to the Simpsons Index podcast. So you like Simpsons, you like podcasts? Well, we have another podcast called Starring Springfield, where we review movies that star the cast of The Simpsons. So check it out. The Simpsons Index, an online spreadsheet that is also a podcast. This is the podcast. Coming to you from SideQuest Studios, this is The Simpsons Index, episode 303. Yeah, hello out there. I'm your host, Elliot J. O'Neill, and today I'm joined here as always, except when he's not, by BT Calloway. And returning champion, Rosie Delaney.
Hello.
Hey, and welcome to the Simpsons Index. We review Simpsons. And Rosie, we were touching about it a bit off pod, but it's been a while since you've been on the show. But we like to ask our returning champions, have you been keeping up with the Simpsons at all?
No, I haven't.
Oh, that's over.
Are you enthused to keep up with them today?
No, I can't say that I am. I'll always go back to the glory years.
Yeah, have you done a rewatch at all of that recently, or?
I reckon I would have maybe about 6 months ago-ish, 5 or 6 months. Without being too gross or sad or whatever, I went through a breakup, and that was comfort watch to put on and feel less sad, which then went into a Futurama rewatch, which was also a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as former guest B. Barbo Sculler was informed us, is apparently one of the top shows to watch for people to fall asleep to.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Which I find surprising for its theme song. Lots of clanging.
It's really clangy, yeah.
Yeah, because that's it for me. I love Bob's Burgers for that reason, but that fucking ukulele song always is so much louder than the rest of the thing, and it always shoots me awake.
Yeah, I'm currently doing a rewatch of that.
Yeah.
Just going through all the adult cartoons.
Yep, nice comfort food. Also delving into the Seth MacFarlane universe at all?
No. I go on Twitter enough to get my fix of Family Guy because it's just blue tick fucking MAGA people being like, how funny is this?
Yeah.
Even Seth MacFarlane doesn't care about Family Guy anymore.
No,
he is so far beyond. It's a good paycheck. Why would I give it up? It's still.
No, it just comes in to do the voices, not in the writer's room or production meetings or anything anymore.
Yeah, fair enough. You got your cash cow, but he's moved on to so many other projects.
That's sort of maybe jumping the gun a little bit, but that's sort of what I felt a little bit watching this is it does feel like they're picking up a paycheck. You can hear their heart's not in the performance.
Oh, yeah. No, This was conveyor belt zombie Simpsons or whatever you want to call it. I will give him a bit of sympathy because let's hook into it. This one we're reviewing today is Season 35, Episode 11, Frinkenstein's Monster. First released in February 2024, it was directed by Stephen Dean Moore, written by Joel H. Cohen. In this episode, Homer gets a new job at a different nuclear power plant, but Professor Frink, for some reason, decides to be the person in his ear helping him get the job and do well at it. But then there's another person, Dr. Spivak, who should have gotten the job, and she sabotages the whole thing. Hey, y'all, what do we think?
Just hearing you explain it like that, I'm like, do you think that was how they got to the plot? Was coming full circle, was he's done every other job you could do. So the only new job we can give him is the same job somewhere else.
Because we've done that with the Hank Scorpio episode.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
And of course,
it
this
wasn't a nuclear power plant, was it? It was just...
You had to run the nuclear wing
true.
of it.
Yeah. No, fair enough.
Yeah, and also throw in a little bit of Frank Grimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But even that...
Well, at least we can be glad they didn't do a Mr. Plow 2.
Give it time, Elliot.
Hyper plow.
Yeah, trying to plow in the summer. I don't know.
Well, that's one note that I wrote down was when they were doing the little clips or all the little photos of previously. I chuckled at halfway done when that came up, so they were halfway through it. But then it said coming in season 49, and that just made me sad.
Yeah.
Because I was like, it's probably true.
And the joke they had for it was Homer's a big techno rock.
Yeah,
Something like that.
Can I quickly throw back to about a minute ago when you used the sequel term hypercube instead of what most people throw to is Electric 2, Breaking 2, Electric Boogaloo, or Fast and Furious 2, Tokyo Drift. I respect that you threw to a little bit of more of a skew one with the Cube 2, Hypercube. Well done, Elliot. I'm impressed.
Mine would
After
normally
all this time.
mine would normally be 2, Cruise Control.
Oh, yeah.
nice.
That's a good too.
Which former guest Andrew Hastings and I did a show once that was the second version, which was
Ooh.
called Cruise Control.
Was that Mortal Comedy too?
It was
or-
Mortal Komedy 2, Cruise Control.
Oh, yeah.
And we did a joke at the end where, because we walked out to wrestlers' entrances and I turned heel on him at the end. But then we talked
Someone
about
had
we were
to.
going to come back to the third one, which was going to be called like Mortal Komedy 2016 or whatever with an all-female cast.
Yeah.
And I have put my work into that, but he hasn't.
Step up your game, Hastings.
Yeah.
I'll step up to the streets. Swish.
But yeah, to circle back to a point I was about to make before the preamble and the synopses, is that, yeah, season 35 is a particularly troubled season, is because, yeah, this one happened during all the writers and directors and actors strikes.
No shit.
So yeah, it was a shorter episode order, and especially towards the back end of the season, we have noticed there is a bit of a, I don't know, like a lack of extra work, because the 30s, like, to be fair, have been better than the 20s.
No, we've talked about that a lot, yeah. You can see it on the index graph line.
Yeah, exactly. it picks up a little.
Yeah.
But 35, we're dropping down again, unfortunately. This one really suffered from those
Yeah,
years.
look.
And also from all the other problems that The Simpsons have.
Yeah, I don't use the term meandering piece of crap often, but I will today.
All right, well, BT, justify yourself. What stands out to you from this one, for better or worse? How can you illustrate your point?
I've got a few, but maybe the one I'm really going to point to is, what was the guest voice villain?
Playing Dr. Spivak, to bring it back to Seth MacFarlane, star of A Million Ways to Die in the West and Ted 2, Amanda Seyfried.
Oh.
Come on, waste of Amanda. All right.
I know. She is so good in A Million Ways to Die in the West, by the way.
She's got a lot of things. Anyway, well, look,
Never seen.
just a real waste of that character. Because while it's like, you know, she's on this Zoom meeting and then she doesn't get the job, so she writes, you know, dead on Homer, and you're like, okay, she's going to be like a physical threat, like planning his death. And then she just is very normal and like finds out he's using Frink to pretend to be good at his job while having no idea what he's doing, and then appeals to him as a human being. You're like, wait, were you creating a villain, or were you creating not even a Frank Grimes who has like a breakdown when he's constantly exposing Homer's failures, but no one seems to care? But this is just someone who's like, it's so nothing. It feels like it lost itself halfway, and hence when I said, you know, of course this happened during the writer's strike, because it feels like there are pieces assembled for something that just doesn't happen.
Yeah, like, and we had time to do any of these things.
Yeah, it's just like, you know, hey, let's build this pool. 'Tis a fine barn, but 'tis no pool English. But even that
one
would
of my
be a
favourite
complete
jokes ever.
structure.
Yeah.
Because it's not even what they even end up with isn't even it's a fucking mess.
How about you, Rosie? What stands out to you from this one, for better or worse?
I feel like I should try and pick something that was at least slightly funny or something not be
I
super
had a
negative.
couple of chuckles.
I got a few lines I had a good time with. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to. There was one where we all seemed to like slightly chuckle, but I don't remember which one it was.
Oh, was it the Emmys one?
Yeah, it was that.
Where everyone has an Emmy.
Yeah.
But then I just kind of got surprised that they didn't have a stab at the Grammys.
Yeah.
Like that's the Simpsons thing, is to have a dig at them.
But yeah, so like Frink's got his own like acronym for it's an egg knot, and it also involves Nobel Prize and a couple of other jokey things. And he's like, well, I've got an Emmy at least. And then everyone in the bar, we've all got Emmys. And Barney using his as corn holders. Like, I dug that joke.
Yeah, that was all right. That was probably the best thing in the Oh, actually, the thing that made me chuckle the most was the Rihanna backup dancer thing, because it was just funny to hear that. Not with that ass.
Which is that is just fundamentally untrue.
Homer's got a big ass.
Yeah.
It's true. He would be coming around like in vogue.
Yeah, it'd be incredible. Get him in a Fenty thong up there, like it'd look outrageous.
Although they did do that in the Family Guy crossover, and that was hard to scrub from memory. him and Peter Griffin both wearing like Daisy Dukes riding high up their ass washing a car.
Yeah.
That's right. I had forgotten about that. Thank you, Elliot.
Yeah, I would say is like that Dr. Spivak is like the most attractively drawn character I think I've ever seen. Like, I'm not into cartoon porn or anything, but I was like, someone took some fun designing that character.
And they've implied she's a lesbian as well.
Which... that scratches my itches.
Happy
Pride Month, everybody.
Itches scratched.
I mean, at least we can take that away from this episode, that it unlocked something. And voiced by Amanda Seyfried. It's what stands out to me? Look, similar to you, BT. It's like the whole Dr. Spivak didn't go anywhere, and also Frink kind of doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah, well, even his setup is kind of baffling because they're at the bar and Homer's complaining, I've got this big job interview, but there's no way I'm going to do it. And so Frank's like, I'll help you. And then it's really unclear for a while how he plans to help. Like, they're at the interview and you're like, oh, wait, I thought this was going to be he'd give Homer, a miracle drug that, limitless him or something. But he's just standing there. And then when the interview starts, Frank starts feeding him answers. Like, oh, wait, did you guys discuss this? Or it was just, no, we'll just invite a guy into our home and he'll help me out somehow. Just very. It's like it's surely having the glasses with the earpiece should have started then.
Yeah.
Instead of but now because then he's like, oh, now you need to help me do the job, and
it's clumsy and inefficient writing.
Yeah.
And then he just sort of disappeared.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he leaves the episode at least twice, and then is just not a part of it.
Yeah.
Not in the sense of. Well, of course, anyone who hasn't seen this, like, well, you guys said he left twice. Of course he's not part of it. It's like, no. It's not the way structure works.
But no, like, even, like, I think the 2 days we see Homer at work, we don't, like, get a bounce back to Frink or see any of the, the tropes with the guy in the earpiece storyline that they're going for here of, like, the person on the other end of the line, having to look up the information or feed it to him or having a situation where they're distracted. Like, none of that. Homer just has 2 days of work that go pretty well, and we're just seeing Homer without like cutting back to Frink at all. It's just, again, why do this story if we're not doing this story?
Yeah.
I will say though, for as much as Frink wasn't there and used properly, it felt weird to see him this much in an episode, because it's normally just someone there for like 5 seconds to make a joke. I'm like, why are you talking so much?
Yeah, he says something, he drops a glaive, and we leave.
Yeah.
But I mean, the other time that we saw a Frink focused plot where they were doing like a everybody trying to help Frink go find a date, and that episode was awful. Like, I think we're 35 years in, it's glad to know you can't hinge a plot on this guy.
You really can't. Like, he's good in segments, but that's it.
That's what I liked in Big Mouth when they like pointed that out or something, where like someone was trying to involve Maury in a plot and he's like, I'm more of a joke guy.
Yeah. Oh, I still haven't watched the last season for that. Have you dug into that yet?
I liked it, yeah.
Yeah?
It ends nicely.
Yeah,
good.
It does have the flavor of they were told at the beginning of the season, this is your last season, but they didn't mean for this to be the last season.
Oh, yeah. Like
there are a lot of things that, like, new things come in, you're like, this is your final, so why are you giving us new characters?
Yeah, but then there is also, like, they've obviously jammed a lot of fourth wall breaking, this is the last season into there as well.
So they knew it, It's not bad.
Oh, cool. Yeah. A show I enjoy quite a lot. And, a big testament to, end the show and go out on a high note.
Yeah, I have a big mouth tattoo.
Oh, you got the hormone monstrous? The
I do.
Maya Rudolph? Yeah.
Nice. Who did remain consistently fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
And has forever altered the way I think about the word bubble bath.
Yeah, which there's some fan service in there. She does say that in the last episode, I think.
But back to this slop. Was this a particularly wacky episode of The Simpsons?
I mean, we have a cannibal budgie.
Yeah, sort of. Like, the cannibal budgie, which just kind of felt like Lazy Ralph.
Yeah.
It felt like, what's the wackiest thing we can give Frink? And then they went to lunch.
Yeah. Also,
went on strike.
Also, not to be that guy, but where he says the parrot, and he says, I'm a budgie. Budgies are a part of the parrot family.
Yeah. Does the parrot know that? I don't know.
Take that, budgie. Thought you were so smart. But yeah, and I that was one that bugged me because like there was a joke there that I liked where like the budgie was feeding Homer the words to say now, and that he was like, I want a cracker. And like that, like there were crackers nearby. Oh, here you go. Like that was funny, but also like the parrot was too smart to also have those sort of lines in the first place.
Yeah, like it was very stereotypical lines, and then we've already established the parrot doesn't speak like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I mean, even then, I think it would have been funnier if it was, does like, I want a cracker, and then Homer goes, I want a cracker. And it's like, I see you won't do the job without a raise. Well, you got one, bud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so much potential here.
Yeah. Is there even a joke in like the parrot feeding him like an answer?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like that would seem slightly unexpected.
Yeah.
Yeah, the parrot could do Frink's job. Sure, why the hell? Hangs out with him all day.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, just parrot what he says. Like, yeah, sure. Yeah, and the other wackiness, like, so with Frink, we get, like, a lot of his gadgets, and I think there were some fun visual jokes with that, and, like, the one I really did like was the misdirect with, like, them going, okay, so how are we going to do this? And they're at Frink's lab, and it's like, well, obviously I can't be with you when this happens, and...
There's a robot bee flying around in the background.
But it breaks, and then the cleaner robot cleans it up, and then Frink's like, so I've got these glasses. Like, I was like...
Yeah, I did kind of like the misdirect.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't laugh, but I cleared some snot.
Yeah. There are some lines. I cleared some snot on this one. This is going to be, a fairly joke-good episode that I come down very hard on.
Yeah.
Well, I would have snot cleared for the talking gorilla in pants.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like
that's... Professor, you've passed mad scientist long ago.
Yeah. Like that felt closer to the show.
Yeah.
Or the show that I know, which hasn't been the show for a long time.
Got, Octoparrot. Polly shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Huge vibes of that, yeah. Yeah, any other wacky moments to point out?
Not that I noted. Very beginning, I do like, we get a comparison of early Homer going to the plant and he's all driven and motivated, and then transition to Homer today where he's got the hierarchy up on the wall and it's got, all the employees and then, guard dog, Cone, guard dog, Homer, and he's like, I hired that Cone.
Yeah. Yeah, I enjoyed that.
I don't know if like this classifies as wacky, but maybe a callback to previous wacky jokes is like on the org chart, you could see Zootroy.
Yeah. I like that. Nice little nod for the fans.
But then like when he had the gravy thing on his face.
The gravy magazine.
Where it just said brown. I'm like, is that a callback to the just brown and water? But then like even like when it first showed him in bed all those years ago or whatever, and there were like books there, like even those sight gags weren't particularly funny.
No.
And they always used to be great.
No, and I'm getting around to a theory on this is that, Simpsons sign gags, like even through the worst times, were generally pretty solid, but lately they've just been doing this thing where they put in a lot at the one time, and it just like feels like such a scattershot and just like a wall of text, and like now my instant reaction is just like, I'm not reading that.
Yeah.
It's not that, like, oh boy, I'm gonna go back and pan for gold.
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
Yeah. If there was stuff like ride the escalator to the top or something like that. I'm like, that just could be a fucking shitty self-help book.
Yeah. Oh God, I forgot one of the ones that stood out, but like, they just weren't very funny.
Yeah, I think I literally went to write one down and went, no, that's not funny.
No.
This isn't worth my time.
I didn't mind the gravy magazine.
Yeah,
like,
that
this
was
month
better.
Brown. Yeah.
Yep.
I like how you went to the brown and water. In my head, I went to, oh, it's brown. Isn't that something? Wow, brown. Anyway, we're saying brown a lot.
Brown. Lisa, stop saying brown.
I'll go for a moment of anti-wacky here. We almost get a throwback to Homer falling down the cliff, but they don't show it.
Let's talk about the wacky elephant in the room, how this episode just stops.
Yes.
Stops dead.
Like Homer in front of the entire, company of nuclear employees goes, I'm a fraud. And they're like, oh, I'm a fraud because I do like these minor infractions and not anything on par of Homer. And then Homer's boss talks to him, turns to him and goes, I suppose we're going to have to fire you now. And they said, no, he doesn't even say that. He says, oh, Homer, stop. No, I mean stop. You're sliding off a cliff. And then Homer off screen falls off a cliff and the episode ends.
Yep.
And we're just like, I think all of us were just, I'm sorry, what?
Like, that gave me whiplash, just the credits there. It's just like, what?
Yeah.
Especially when like an episode that I've done on this pod before, like Rosebud, where they like take such pains to like reference how the episode is ending. It's like, this just cut. Oh, fuck. Okay.
Yeah, it's like they went on strike that moment.
Yeah, get a very Sopranos vibe to it.
Yeah. I'm working my way through that show. Don't spoil it for me. I'm expecting a great ending that everyone would love.
I similarly haven't watched that and intend to at some point.
Yeah.
And wonder how I'll feel about
When
the
you get
ending,
there.
because I know that happens.
Yeah.
But I have no idea of the context of any
No,
of it.
I've had the thing where I've watched like videos explaining it. I've never watched the show. But they're just basically saying that, yeah, look, the guy's life, it just continues with a degree of suspense, and that's what we wanted to end on, a sense of you don't know what happens next. And it's like, oh, I feel like if I ever watch this, I'm going to know that beforehand now and have that context.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's one of the things I'm taking advantage of with Max while I still try to justify having that subscription before I cancel it next month, probably.
Yeah, I'll get myself a job and then I'll have the 1 month.
But how was the heart in this episode? Do we feel bumps?
All right.
No.
Well, this is one where I have a little bit of a round chambered
Yeah.
because they are trying to put Lisa into this in terms of like Lisa is a woman who would care about women in STEM. Homer has accidentally locked out this qualified woman from getting the job he has through false means. It is so painfully not put together properly that they're even... Because there's a bit where, this woman gets on with Marge and Homer as they're going up the ski lift, and she appeals to Homer, and then she appeals to Marge, and she's like, Marge, women have to lift other women up. And Marge gets the famous Simpsons two faces floating around her head saying things, which includes Lisa. But Lisa doesn't know this is happening, nor does she even really have a sense of confusion as to how Homer got the job, mostly because he always gets jobs. And there's just one bit at the dinner table, which got a legitimate, what the fuck note from me, where she's like, oh, I guess I'll just go upstairs and play my lament. And then we get a 2-minute song of Lisa just playing a song about how she's sad.
Yeah, where they then, as you pointed out before, cut to a montage of all Homer's jobs over the years. And I just didn't... what the fuck was happening here?
Yeah, and it feels like what they're trying to do is get the idea that Lisa would be outraged by what Homer is doing, but she never knows what that is.
Yeah.
So she's just inherently sad, but in a way that Lisa's always sad. And then trying to call it back when Homer is confronted to be like, no, you need to do the right thing. But then that's in Marge's head. So no one says to Homer, think of the example you're setting for your daughter where you've cheated your way. And it is so just hacked to nothing. The only notes of heart I have are where I drew a heart and then crossed it out to point out, no, this is not heart. This is the wrong idea entirely. Where it's just completely fucked up.
There was also specifically like the opposite of heart in that Marge was playing that song again, seemingly on Spotify or something like that in the car. And Homer's like, wow, what's that nice song? And not recognizing that it's his daughter.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I hate to be that father. And it's like, okay.
And she's like, oh, it's quite an earworm. And it's like, no, it's not.
It's really dreary.
It's flat and bland and unmemorable.
Yeah, but and they had to carve out a fair amount of time to do that.
Yeah.
So
they cut back to it like 2 or 3 more times or something like that. And it's just...
Yeah, but it's a thing you could drop into any episode. It's not relevant to this one because it's not about what's happening.
I think that like when he was first setting up for the Zoom interview though, while it wasn't funny per se, the conversation that he had with Lisa did feel more typical of their like classic relationship.
Yeah. Where she comes in and is like, oh, sorry. Go.
Oh, I was just going to say him just being kind of like a bit pig-headed.
Yeah, because she's like, what's Frank doing here? He's here to help me with an interview. It's like, why didn't you ask me to help you out like you normally do? But even then, she's wearing a sweater that says Sax, Hugs, and Veggie Rolls. And I'm like, I wrote it down. I'm like, I feel like this isn't going to come up again. I mean, I want to be wrong, and it doesn't. Like, there's no impetus for her wearing that or reference to it later. It's just how, Lisa, and God, she loves that sweater.
Yeah.
Wears it every episode.
Well, I mean, we haven't done all the season 35s yet, so look, maybe it's her thing now. Like,
do you think it's supposed to be a parody of those like shirts that
I think it's
they're like something and something and
the
something?
the Beatles one.
Yeah.
I mean, no, it's got more in at least in terms with the words, has more in time with like sex, drugs, and videotape.
Sure.
Of sex, hugs, and
sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
But even then, it's fucking just, I don't know why it's there. And they put the effort of like animating it and everything else.
Yeah.
And it's got nothing to do with anything. It's not even a joke any of us really understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in terms of the heart with, like, because what a story like this should be doing is, like, yeah, finding that heart with Frink and Homer and, yeah, this Dr. Spivak. And because those two, besides Homer, are just so absent from this episode, we don't get it. And, like, with Frink's turn where he shows up at the Simpsons house, like, it doesn't also carry any emotional weight.
Yeah.
It just felt weird. And
Yeah,
there's that bit where fucking Flanders eyeballs the camera. Fuck, what was that? I didn't finish my note. I'm like, just, you've got to be kidding.
I think it's where Frink goes to Homer's house. I think it's the first time he quits.
Yeah.
And jumps out of the bushes and goes, I'm not doing this anymore. And Homer's like, yeah, you are.
Yeah.
And then Flanders like, I heard you guys yelling. I'm here to give you,
lemonade or whatever.
Kool-Aid or whatever.
And then Frink says, shut up, Flanders. And Homer's like, shut up, Flanders. Hey, that was a good one. And then, like, that would have been a fine line, but the fact that fucking Flanders barrels the camera and just has this, like, sort of face. Fucking hell.
Yeah. I mean, look, it had one of the lines I kind of liked, which is Homer saying, he's like, you can't quit. You made me the me I am, which is you. Which is all right.
That feels more classic Homer.
Yeah. But ultimately, did it feel like an episode of The Simpsons?
It's not finished. I can't stress that enough. This is incomplete.
It really didn't feel finished the whole time. Yeah.
I'm going to have a quick check and see if this is, like, when they were on strike, because, like, I mean,
it has to be, surely.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because, like, a bunch of shows, like, took this hit at this time, obviously.
There were so many parts of it that just, like, needed another pass. Like, there was, I don't remember what the joke was, but they essentially repeated it. Like, it was Homer in the interview, and he's saying all of his, like, Lavens and whatnot, like...
Yeah, it's
they just did it again, like 20 seconds
later. The first time was good. The second time was like, no.
Yes, you just did that.
Yeah, but even then, that's like a waste of economy of storytelling because, Frink gives him the answer, then we hear Homer give the answer. Instead of just like cutting half over, Frink starts it, then we cut to, the Zoom meeting of Homer repeating it, and then at the end he goes Glaven because, he's just repeating it.
It had the real energy of like a child that has managed to get a laugh with like a joke or a line or something. And just says it again. It's like,
This is exactly the kind of child that I was.
Look, we all were. Because like even with my
and even adults sometimes.
Yeah.
What is stand-up comedy if not repeating the same jokes?
Exactly.
Just doing that at stand-up, just doing the like your opener again, and then looking. What, you found it funny the first time? Like,
yeah, it's like an encore,
Yeah, I'm like Iggy Pop playing I Want to Be Your Dog twice in one set, You guys want the cunt soap gag again?
I heard that's what fucking both Daryl Braithwaite and who did My Sharona? Was that the Knack?
The Knack.
They both like play their
My neck,
one
my
song.
back, my Sharona by the neck.
That's worth repeating.
And I did repeat it because I tweeted that once.
Hey, different mediums. But yeah, they'll do that. Like Daryl Braithwaite will play horses like 4 times in a set to keep the crowd up. Like,
yeah, because you are not there for anything else. You're not there for his B material.
Just there for his hate material. Horses.
Yeah, no, I liked it.
I didn't feel like a Simpsons at all. I get Homer kind of, but like, I'm not having a fun enough time to be on
Homer
board.
has his moments throughout of, doing another one of these. And there's even something kind of funny, but sort of lacking in energy of the exit interview he does with Smithers, where Smithers is like, okay, we've got a form for this now. So you're leaving because your bartender had an idea. How long do you think you'll be gone for? Forever, I see.
Yeah,
that was okay.
I didn't mind that.
It was good there's just something kind of lacking in the energy, and maybe it's again Smithers' voice actor is wearing a little bit.
That's I wrote their voices aging feels
and that's not something
wrong and odd.
I want to harp on too much because this doesn't sound necessarily like a lack of effort. It just sounds like that's what the voice sounds like because the voice actor has aged. What do you want? You can't do anything about that.
Yeah, I still wrote Julie Kavner needs a butter menthol. Is she even trying to do Marge anymore, or is it just her actual voice at this point?
I was worried that someone had kicked you in the stomach when you first heard Marge in this episode, Rosie.
Yeah,
because
like, we're used to it now. That's the weird thing.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, having said that, yeah, like it goes over our heads most of the time now. We're kind of used to new Marge, but even then, that was like a particularly rough read.
There were bits where it sounded like she was going in and out of trying to do Marge voice and just her actual voice.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I felt that with Hank Azaria and Frink, to be quite honest, in this one.
and Ned.
Yeah. Harry Shearer, like, he's the latest one where we're like, oh my god, he's old, isn't he? Like,
And you can tell now,
Yeah.
like he wasn't in this episode, but like Mr. Burns now sounds like an old person, which is
Yeah, weird thing to complain about, but it's very accurate. You hear it, you're like, oh, that's wrong. He sounds old. Like, he's always been old. Yeah, but not like this.
Yeah. I had a few things on this, I think. Like, there was kind of like an extreme version of where she pointed out that, like, Homer's dumb as hell, but then has flashes of, like, super intelligence, which, like, that was always something that I really like about his character, where, like, he's a blissful idiot who, for whatever reason, knows heaps about, like, the Supreme Court justices of the, like, US. But, like, them just sort of pointing it out here, even though it was because of the earpiece with Frink or whatever. But then also, that's just how I feel that I am as a person. But I also just wrote down, I think one of the biggest things that makes it not feel like The Simpsons is just, I miss B-plots.
Yeah,
a lot of them are straight A lately, and I don't know why.
Yeah, and especially like this episode, we don't get the full intro sequence. We get a little cute couch gag. That was all right. But yeah, and we don't get like the extended credits bit, really.
Yeah.
Like I said at the top, we had time here.
Yeah, you could have, I don't know, cut Lisa's song.
Yeah. That, like, if you needed that in there, it didn't need to be anywhere near as long.
No, that's given me a good idea of what to change. But first, before that question, we asked, yes or no, would you watch this one again?
No.
What would you like to change, BT?
All right, so make your, villain a villain, for starters, if that's the direction you want to take it. Also, just, like, for a second, okay, a genuine thought, okay, they're going to go on this ski trip. That's a dangerous place. She's going to try and kill Homer. That's a plot line. Nope. And then, okay, fine. If you don't want to do that, and you want to have, have the heart moment of it all, have it be Lisa learns what Homer's done earlier, and then there's the whole, you need to be a good role model to your daughter, and people need to get, roles based on their merits, or something like that. And it doesn't even split the difference. A quarter does both.
Yeah.
And so you're left with just nothing. And yeah, cut the song. Good Lord, it eats so much time for nothing.
Yeah.
No, it felt like they were trying to pad it out. Sorry, Rose.
I just, like, I think that's all right. Like, these new ones always feel like they're trying to do too much and don't settle on, like, one thing. And, like,
despite
maybe
only being a plot, which is what's weird.
Yeah, like, yeah, it's so bizarre because it just feels unedited.
Yeah.
Like nothing feels like every joke used to feel like it was so agonized over. But, like, I think, like, maybe, like, lean into the hijinks more.
Yeah.
Because Wacky is Simpsons. Like, he's got the earpiece. Maybe it's the Dr. Spivak falling in love with Frink through Homer.
Oh.
Yeah, it's something.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, cause there's just, it does feel like there was so much still left on the table here. And like, yeah, as I'm quickly, consolidating and bringing up things for final note time, next question, I'm just like, yep, you could have cut that and got some more time, cut that. That ate up a shitload of time. And that's, it needs to be like taken down and just reapproached. Like, and like, the one bit of inspiration that I had before is maybe not necessarily a full B plot, but like a splintering off from the A is like, have Lisa involved in like trying to bring this down or working with Spivak and being like, but then having the conflict with Marge. Oh, she's so much happier now and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, she gets to take baths.
Yeah. And show more of Marge enjoying those perks of her new life.
Yeah, having the, childcare they never have, or having the increased income, or the better health insurance, or, anything else.
Access to their Viking masseuse room.
Yeah, because even now that I think about it, okay, so the bit where Novak, what the hell is her name?
Spivak,
whatever.
I think.
Finds, Homer's glasses with Frink's earpiece in it. And I'm like, okay, she's going to cut the earpiece. No, she just somehow finds Frink and convinces him to quit, which is extra time for nothing. And then there's a bit where she's driving to the resort and she's hacked into the frequency. So now she's in Homer's ear, but that does nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just because the next time we see her, she's in the gondola with, Homer and Marge and appealing to Homer. So God, it's such a fucking mess.
It really is.
Also, not to, push an agenda or anything, but Yet another opportunity to turn Marge gay.
The closest we've come so far is the Gaga episode. Assuming you haven't watched that episode.
No, but one of the other ones I did was like Marge went off and lived with a like wood chopping lezo mate.
yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Marge the Lumberjill.
Forgot about that.
That was a while ago, back in the lockdown Zoom era.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
Actually, I liked the little detail that, and they didn't hang on it at all. But Homer, full business suit up top, but still in his underwear, going for this job interview.
Which I've done.
Yeah.
Well, like not the like, but I have done the no pants job interview, and I got the job.
Hey.
Which made me redundant recently.
Oh.
Wow. Ups and downs.
Kept wearing pants in the workplace. Yeah.
I mean, I worked from home a lot, so I often didn't.
It's your lucky not pants.
The best pants is no pants.
Yeah, I put on pants to go into the office, and then they told us we didn't have jobs anymore.
I put on pants for this.
I didn't actually. I put these pants that I'm wearing on now, which are athletic shorts.
Put on these athletic shorts for this. Doesn't quite have the same punch, I'm not going to lie.
No, this makes sense why they're doing this.
So, yeah, okay, I get it.
All right. Well, it's time for our final notes.
Now it's time for our final notes. Everyone's final notes.
Rosie.
Final notes now.
For all of our Bryan Danielson fans out there. Rosie, do you have any other final notes you want to mention about this episode before we move on to the rankings?
God, whatever's left is probably just all really like shitty stuff. I've just got the jokes are just so weak. Like the pictures I pretend to wash.
Yeah.
That was like, come on, you can do so much better than that.
Yeah, for sight gags, it's terrible.
Yeah, like it feels weird to me. Like this is maybe like another that doesn't feel like The Simpsons. It feels weird to me when like modern things are in the show, like Zoom.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, this feels like locked in the 90s,
It's
like
no,
firmly.
you are a 90s show.
Yeah, exactly.
No, Homer has iPad now.
Yeah, that's not cool. Homer in glasses is always a funny look, but I will always prefer him in his little reading glasses.
Yeah, the little half moon.
Yeah.
I love that.
That's vintage Simpsons stuff. I'm glad that at least whoever does Carl now sort of sounds like him.
Yeah.
Like it's weird when they've got people that don't like.
It's like, respect the move to having people of color playing people of color.
Yeah.
But I also have to erase 30 years of knowing what this character's voice sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they've had that thing with Dr. Hibbert recently where Kevin Michael Richardson now voices him, and he started out doing an impression of Harry Shearer's Dr. Hibbert, but then we watched an episode the other week where Dr. Hibbert did a laugh, and it was so far removed from what we know as the that like, it gave everybody fucking whiplash. Like he just chuckled. He didn't chuckle like Hibbert then.
No.
That's like the one thing you'd have to get right about that character.
Or at least have a line of like, I'm trying a new laugh.
Yeah. Be meta about it or something. I think it said like something I've found with the new ones that I've seen were like the complete lack of sound. And
The interstitial music.
Yeah. And it seems like they fixed some of the sort of like incidental sound, but there still wasn't as much music.
No. And while we're on that topic, R.I.P. to Alf Clawson, who passed away over the weekend. The
Really?
original, the original conductor of the Simpsons, Oh,
shit.
But also they fired him like 6 years ago, so
Still.
fuck the Simpsons.
It's still an icon.
Yeah, still iconic.
Yeah. And I think the only other thing I had was like I like the conceit at the end of everybody doing the no, I'm Spartacus, like I'm a fraud thing, because especially like in an environment like that, like
High pressure corporate stuff.
like no one knows what they're doing, and some of us get made redundant because of that.
It still might have been the shorts, we're not sure.
But like that does feel like something that they would have done, but it also feels like something that they would have done funnier.
Yeah, well, because I don't know, it just felt also pretty meaningless that the boss just fires Homer anyway.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like he also fires the whole staff. Like,
But I think like that kind of gag like feels like people would have just said like things with like sort of increasing like I don't know, like severity, like
yeah, I didn't. Actually, there was one joke I liked. There is like the guy going, "Oh, I'm using a 9-year-old Tinder pic," and it's like, "Oh, you're the worst." Like, I was like, that's
Isn't
not
that
bad.
weird that Tinder's been around that long?
Yeah, I know.
That's old hat now.
Yeah. Like, I've been off the dating apps for like 6 years. They've been around long enough to have had that big a break.
Yeah. They're in long enough for Simpsons to make a reference to them, so that means they're really, really past their relevancy. All right, well, BT, final notes.
There's a bit where Homer's like, I've been going to the same job for 20 years and all I have to show for it is this rubber band ball. And Mo has a line of like, look, for 20 years, that ball's pretty small. I kind of like that one. Bit where, she's, I keep forgetting her goddamn name. Spivak. I like Spy something. Spivak's, he's like, oh, Homer, you're early for the interview. Just be a moment, Miss Spivak. I have to conduct this man's interview. She's like, oh, that's fine. I look even better in comparison to other people.
Yeah, I think we popped for that one.
Yeah. I really dislike Frink calls Homer a fat yellow banana slug, and it cuts to Homer just chewing on a leaf because that's what banana slugs do. It's like, fuck.
Ridiculous.
Yep. Actually, I'm going to skip that one. I don't care. Look, the roving squad of surprise masseuses. That was a pretty good line. Okay. I didn't need them dressed as my Vikings, but I do like just the roving squad.
Yeah, that felt a bit laboured.
Yeah.
Just have it be like someone in a white polo shirt.
Yeah. But then they wouldn't have their line of, they're anything Vikings can't do. Win a Super Bowl.
Which is also a fucking terrible line.
I know.
Yeah, that felt like they hung on that one as well. Like, they were nearly barreling the camera.
Yeah. So cut that. Just, have them in like a masseuse out, plain white, whatever.
Yeah.
At one point, they're reading Life in Helsinki because everyone here is from Norway or whatever it was. I can't know.
Finland. Great architecture there. But she gets it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Life in Helsinki, that,
I was like, okay, that's a nice little if you know, you know kind of thing.
Yeah.
There's a bit where, Spivak, hi, I remembered, brings around Lenny and Carl to fish for dirt and is like, hey, where's Homer? I was going to say hi or some similar greeting. Okay.
But even then, that part of the plot didn't feel like it led anywhere.
She just finds out, he's actually kind of an idiot. So she's like, well, this is suspicious, and I was already suspicious.
Information she knew.
Like, surely it could have ended with, like, I don't know, something about, Homer doesn't wear glasses. What are you talking about?
Yeah. It's just giving him a letter grade and then go straight to F. Oh, no, Z. No, we're going to need a bigger alphabet.
Nothing. Ugh. And let's see. There's also a bit where Spivak's trying to confront Homer on, like, a personal level. And it's like, my career is ruined because of you. And I'm like, why?
Yeah.
You're a perfectly competent nuclear employee. You're not ruined. You just missed one option.
Yeah.
So, it's just, fuck it, this is a mess. I'm just going to circle that forever. No, I'll stick to meandering piece of crap. That works for me.
See, look, you're looking at your past work and like, no, that original line was better. Yeah. And it's like, this, it needed an editing process.
We need a bigger alphabet to describe how shit it was.
Oh, that was one thing we haven't brought up yet. What was with Frink's tear that he was carrying around in the...
Because at the very beginning, Homer says something. Good Lord, I can't remember what. And Frink cries one tear and he's like, that proves I'm human. I finally confirmed it was...
And he's just carrying it around with him for the entire episode. And the moment that he is like, no, I'm not helping Homer anymore, he throws it away. And it's like...
I didn't even notice that. I only noticed
that bit. Surely that was proving your own humanity, not that it meant anything because of Homer.
And is that the point of this episode? No.
Maybe it should have been.
Yeah. Another little detail I did like when Homer's going for the Zoom meeting is he colors in his little M hairs around his ear. I was like, good little sight gag that didn't linger. Yeah, pretty well done. And similarly, when he's doing the exit interview and he goes, would you like me to shove something up somewhere? And he's like, one of the options you see is Hippo's hiney. And I'm like, interesting.
So finally, where would you like us to cram this job?
Yeah, that's it. A detail I liked of the second nuclear power plant's boss, he had a giant taxidermy salmon in his corner, whereas Burns would have the big white bear. He had just this big salmon standing up. And I'm like, I enjoyed that.
Nice detail.
And that's good to end on a positive note because it's time to rank this thing. On the Simpsons Index, we rank using a 6-point scale, which starts down the bottom at failure. Maybe if the episode was just meh, you give it a participant, but for the positive rankings, you got okay bronze, good silver, excellent gold, but for the best of the very best, you give cubic zirconia. I'm going to go first. Let me show you how it's done. Failing this. I think I still hated it a lot less than a lot of things that I've given a failure, but there's just this whole thing of like, you have the guy in the earpiece trope right there. I don't know how you whiffed it this badly. Like, it's like, it's a cliched thing, but like, it's the template that you then can just rise to, and then, you know, it's a coloring in page that you...
I was about to say, you got paint by numbers wrong.
Yeah.
Even a kid with a crayon just doing big scribbles across it would have been more competent. BT.
Yeah, look, this for a long time I was sitting in a participant, and then at a certain point I'm like, it is so, like you said, it loses the very simple ideas it had, and it gets so unfocused and so meandering, and just sucks. Any parts that I kind of enjoyed, or was at least, you know, mediocre towards, just started to piss me off. So yeah, I am happy. It feels nice to kick something in the pit of failure.
Hey,
so
Rosie.
Cubic zirconia, just kidding. It was a failure. It was so bad. Like, just it doesn't feel like the show. Not funny. But also, like, not funny in the way that annoying people who aren't funny but think they are.
Yeah.
Because at least they're putting forth some effort in things they think are jokes.
Yeah. But then it kind of just shits you, where you're like, no, be aware that you're not funny.
Yeah.
Well, and even like I can forgive a less funny episode as long as it loses coherency is what kills me on this one.
Yeah, it was so all over the shop. Like,
yeah, what a mess. What'd you call it? Meandering
piece of crap.
Piece of crap. All right, unanimous failure. We are giving this episode the index finger. You might not have heard that one before.
No, I haven't.
This will be the third unanimous failure from season 35. We also gave it to the final episode of the season, Bart's Brain, where Bart befriends a brain in a jar.
Yeah, and it's also just a mess.
Yep. And it ends with the fucking, which Fast and Furious is it? 4 or whatever, with the Wiz Khalifa song and everything.
Yeah,
as he sets the brain off
the
into
Paul Walker memorial exit.
Yeah. It sets off the brain on the road on a skateboard. It's, what is this show anymore?
And we're just like, you know, when the Fast and the Furious did something more tastefully than you, you have cocked up really bad.
Oh dear. Do you know what the highest rating you've given like a season 20 or 30 episode is?
Yes. Yeah. Highway to Well got 2 golds and a cubic for a shiny gold.
Ooh.
And wouldn't think it from the premise, but the premise is Homer and Marge start competing pot dispensaries. Or Marge joins like an established like medicinal cannabis one, and to combat that, Homer, like, his dispensary is meant to simulate like going to a dingy drug dealer's house in the 90s, and
like, so you got Lenny sitting in a beanbag chair playing an unplugged bass.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good gag, actually.
Well, yeah, because Otto found the whole, you know, dispensary too like clinical and too like overwhelming in that way, and you know, he wanted to go around to a place where it was
he wanted
kind of
the dive bar experience. Basically.
Yeah,
they sort of did that on Mr. Show.
Yeah,
it's like a sketch or whatever, and the pharmacist like takes them back to get like the good shit, and then like it is sort of set up like you got to like hang out with me to get this.
I've been meaning to do a rewatch of that show, but it is very difficult to find these days.
It is. It used to all be on YouTube, and like I remember they took it down. Like it was all on binge, and then there were just 4 episodes of like highlights, and that's all gone now.
Oh shit!
Like, is it on Max?
Maybe. I'm not sure. But I actually, you know what? Another high-rated episode from this season that, we reviewed with our friend B. Barbo Sculler was A Mid-Childhood Night's Dream, which got a unanimous gold, and that's like Marge gets really sick with the flu, and she's also dealing with worrying about the kids growing up and everything. It's a lot of like dream fantasy and wackiness stuff, but like it lands the emotion so well.
Do you think they just wrote that episode because of Julie Kavner's voice?
It's like, you've got not many left in you. Let's get you a nice one.
Look, if it was Marge's swan song and then she died from like the effects of the flu after that, I think it would have been fucking excellent way to send out that character.
Look, if in the odd chance I ever get the chance to write a Simpsons episode, the plotline is going to be Marge's mother dies, so Julie never has to do that voice again.
Yeah. The other unanimous failure from this season, I'm trying to remember. It's a Blunderful Life was the title. We reviewed it recently as well. An elderly Lisa recounts the story of how Homer scapegoated for a power outage that plunged Springfield into darkness. Yeah.
I remember not liking that, but maybe I was a stick in the room at the time.
Yeah, vague memories of being mad at Simpsons. Yeah, typical for us. Rosie, thank you very much for joining us for the show today. Sorry about this.
Oh, no. It's still fun to come and laugh at how shit something is.
Yeah.
Cathartic.
But yeah, it's just after last episode especially, we had 2 episodes in a row that were, quite good. And
Yep.
Yeah.
It does prove that, some episodes can be good, and then there are still clunkers out there, my gosh.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't seen any good new ones, so I was coming here with expectations completely met.
Yeah.
I've not been let down at all. This is what I thought would happen.
Oh, there we go. Nostradamus over here. But yeah, anything to plug out there on the...
Not really, to be honest. I haven't really been gigging. So I don't know if you follow me on Instagram, I guess, Rose Alice Delaney, or even TikTok. I post some garbage content on there.
I mean, it's TikTok. That's what's on there.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
do we.
Yeah.
I've gotten to posting clips of movies that Simpsons people were in.
Yeah.
But
By what podcast would that be tying into, Elliot?
Why? It's our podcast starring Springfield. Yeah,
you fucking know.
Yeah. We're reviewing the movies that star the cast of The Simpsons in ways you've never seen them. And if you follow us on TikTok there as well, we're posting clips up from the movies that feature the said people.
And it's fun. Go
I
listen
posted
to
a
the
clip
podcast.
on TikTok that included a clip from one of those films.
Oh, really?
With the and she's got a great ass.
It's immortal.
Which has had very few views because they've obviously shoved it down because it's got a photo of my butt in it.
Damn TikTok.
Yep.
Changing our fucking language so we have to call it glass now or something.
Yeah, I love calling myself a lesbian on there. Having segs.
Oh, God. Well, before I unalive myself with thinking of all that shit, BT, where else can they check us out?
I do love the unalive. It's so stupid. Yeah. This is the world. I mean, we just mentioned starring Springfield, so they can go to patreon.com/sidequeststudios, where not only you get access to over 200 exclusive podcasts, you also get the complete up-to-date experience of starring Springfield, as well as the ability to tell us what movies to watch, which I believe now includes a handy-dandy spreadsheet, because we do love spreadsheets, of every possible option. So you can just look through and that sounds fucking stupid. Let's get them to watch that one.
There's over, I think, 800 films that qualify for our thing.
Holy shit.
And
think about it.
the Simpsons cast were busy.
Fucking hell, I wouldn't have thought they'd be anywhere near that.
Yeah, well, we're kind of extending it out to also Phil Hartman, Joe Mantegna.
Anyone who's, when you say, Joe Mantegna, if someone goes, oh, who's that? Fat Tony.
Yeah.
So, someone not like, Danny DeVito or something would be not included, because you say Danny DeVito, you'd be like, oh, who's that? You'd be like, oh, any of his roles.
Yeah, Herb.
Yeah.
What doesn't qualify? Yeah, there's some gray area.
But, go check that out. Patreon.com/SideQuestStudios. But for now, that's the Simpsons Index for this week. Once again, thank you very much, Rosie.
Thanks for having me.
And thank you, BT.
You should really cut right to the ending in the middle of a sentence, so it simulates this episode.
And I've been Elliot J. O'Neill. That's all the mustard.
Oh, God, where's the mustard? Where's the mustard? Thank you for listening to the Simpsons Index podcast, which is also an online spreadsheet available at thesimpsonsindex.com. We're also on social media. You can follow us on Blue Sky, Instagram, and on Threads. Links for all that and more are down in the show notes. And lastly, consider giving us a 5-star review. Why not? We'd do it for you. Now, there's no bonus scenes for this episode. Everything we left in was pure gold, so we'll catch you next time.